Politicians being investigated for telling the truth, going off script, as it were. Metropolitan Police assessing Lee Anderson's Islamists' comments. The Metropolitan Police is assessing a report of hate speech made against MP Lee Anderson after he accused London Mayor Sadiq Khan of being controlled by Islamists. Now, this is the thing that's funny is, you've heard that thing, if you want to learn who controls you, figure out who you're not allowed to criticise, right? It seems that whenever you make any comments about immigration or a lot of people of a certain persuasion being voted into like local council and MP positions all over the country, they get very nervous about that and start investigating it. I just find that strange. I just think that's something worth pointing out. That's worth pointing out, and it definitely raises a bit of an eyebrow. The force said it received the report after the MP claimed Islamists had got control of Mr. Khan and he had given away our capital to extremists. Now, it is kind of common knowledge that particular non-native demographics are favoured more than the native population, which was essentially the case during the colonialisation era, where Belgium, Britain, France and Spain and everybody else was, going around and saying, I'm very sorry, but the human sacrifices will stop, right? We made things better. These guys are not. We took things forward. They're wanting to take us back. And it's a case of, we brought liberty and freedom and technology and science, and they're bringing Sharia law, which is opposed to all of those things, right? I'm just saying, it feels like a step backwards for us, right? I'm just saying. The Ashfield MP refused to apologise and was suspended from the Tory party, which, well done to him for fucking sticking by his words. The Prime Minister's official spokesman said the language used was wrong. Remember what I said in the Sam Melia video, where there are just certain political things where even though these things cause massive problems, you're just not allowed to talk about them. Not allowed to talk. All what's happened is that essentially completely annihilated your life, your culture, and your country? Shut the fuck up about it or you'll go to jail. Shut up. You're not allowed to talk about immigration or anything like that. But he added that Rishi Sunak did not believe Mr. Anderson was racist. Good to know. Labour Mayor Mr. Khan has urged the Prime Minister to call the remarks racist and Islamophobic. I love how Mr. Khan, in one hand, represses speech and then in the other also compels speech. You will obey the narrative. You will say the things that I demand that you say. Mr. Khan's a tyrant. Sadiq Khan is a tyrant. He is. It is really important to understand that there should be no hierarchy when it comes to racism, he told BBC Asian Network on Thursday. No hierarchy when it comes to racism. Yeah, okay. Can you be racist to whites, Mr. Khan? Can you be racist to whites, Mr. Khan? I already know the answer to that. Racism is racism, hatred is hatred. Just like we would all rightly call out anti-Semitism, call out homophobia, call out misogyny, we should also call out Islamophobia and anti-Muslim hatred. In an Evening Standard article, Mr. Khan previously said Mr. Anderson had poured petrol on the fires of hatred. No, I think he actually brought attention to an issue that a lot of people in the country are starting to be very deeply affected by. But we're just a native population, so who gives a shit what we think? The force said it did not provide information on named individuals, but on Wednesday, after a report about the MP's comments in The Sun, it said a report was made to police on Saturday, 24th of February. Officers are assessing this report. So basically, the state has set up a system in which it is able to investigate and punitively criminally punish certain comments that are made against the status quo. Certain comments that are made about the certain protected, privileged groups that we have in our country. Right, so basically it's colonialism. Commit a crime against one of the colonialists, well, you're probably going to get strapped in front of a cannon. Which I believe Sadiq Khan would probably do if it was fucking allowed. Mr. Anderson, the former Tory deputy chairman, who is now sitting in the House of Commons as an independent, has continued to refuse to apologise and said Mr. Sunak made a mistake in suspending him. He is not ruled out standing for Reform UK, formerly known as the Brexit Party, at the next election. Senior Conservatives have described Mr. Anderson's attack on Mr. Khan as wrong, but have so far stopped short of describing them as Islamophobic. Home Secretary James Cleverly joined calls for Mr. Anderson to apologise on Monday, saying his comments were not accurate or fair. Have you seen the demographics of London recently? Have you seen the sheer amount of people getting voted into positions of power? Like, Ireland, Scotland and England, the man at the top is a brown man. In these islands, in these majority white countries, the man at the top is a brown man. That can only happen through special privilege. That can only happen through special privilege. Privileged minorities getting put in and went, well, I know he's absolutely terrible at the job, but he's brown, so we have to give him the job. Like, that's because of privilege. Brown privilege, Islamic privilege. Oh, that's a term we need to start using. The former minister said his comments were inflicitious. I have no idea what that means, but his concerns about Islamism are entirely legitimate, and I would agree. And he should not have been suspended from the party. I also completely agree. However, we need to remember at this point that the Tories are not a right-wing party by any metric, right? The Tories are liberalism driving the speed limit. That's all it is. See the next election, it does not matter who wins, right? Labour is going to say uncontrolled mass immigration. And then the Tories are uncontrolled mass immigration, but a little bit slow. That's it. Like that we're at the point now where the parties are indistinguishable. And the reason for that is, the both parties serve the same people, right? Both parties serve the same people, and everyone is allowed to join either party that they want, and they're allowed to pocket as much tax money and, grab as much money as they can during their time in government, as long as they don't veer off the script. That's it. They're allowed to go in and make as much money as they want, as long as they don't veer off the script. However, this man veered off the script. Have you noticed that? Basically, whenever anybody says anything about the general status quo, mass immigration, good. Islamization, good. Rape gangs, good. Like, all that stuff. As soon as you veer off it and go, I'm starting to think that this is actually becoming a bit of a problem. Like, people are actually being very deeply affected by these issues, and the government's like, shut up, suspend him, apologise right now. Because as soon as you apologise for your comments, you're acknowledging that they were wrong. That's what you're doing. But however, hats off to Lee Anderson for fucking sticking to his guns and going, no, what I said is right. These things are deep-seated problems in the country that the government is completely unwilling to address, to the point where whenever a fucking MP points them out, they suspend him and try and fucking shut him down. Right, that's the thing, and this is the thing, we were talking about this again, the Samuel. What's the rise in the far right? This stuff is. You're basically saying these main problems that you are facing, you are not allowed to talk about. You will accept them. You will sit back and allow your own destruction. If you dare talk about it, we will throw you in prison. That stuff will come to a head. The chickens will come home to roost one day, right? That is a recipe for absolute, utter disaster. That will backfire massively. I mean, look at the sheer amount of right-wing parties, right-wing by European standards, maybe. But see the sheer amount of right-wing parties that are winning all across Europe. The reason it's not happening in Britain is because right now we don't really have a right-wing party. I mean, Reform UK are all right. They're okay. Tories are a left-wing party, right? Our two main parties are left-wing parties. Right? Left-wing authoritarian parties. SNP, left-wing authoritarian party. Lib Dems, who gives a shit? Who cares about the Lib Dems? Nobody cares about the Lib Dems. Not even the Lib Dems care about the Lib Dems. The Lib Dems don't even care about liberalism or democracy, even though it's in their name. UKIP could have been good, but even though me and fucking Sargon get blamed for UKIP fucking shit in the bed, it wasn't. It was because Farage left. It's because the man with the giant cult of personality, Mr. Brexit himself, left the party and took all the voters with him. That's what happened. Right, so yeah, we don't have any viable solutions here in Britain to any of these issues. Oh, you could vote. You vote and change your MP, and your MP can then go to Parliament and say, I want to change the speech laws, and then Parliament can go, no. And then that's it. That's it, dead in the water right away. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel we're kind of fucked at this point. I'm having a little bit of a black pill day. I'm sorry.